Gentlemen, we're back again for another video. Go check out that GPC introduction that I just dropped earlier today. Obviously this is like the follow-up video to that, so that you guys can kind of have something to go off as opposed to that first video. But you saw the title of the video. Today's video is about escalation with women, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, be sure to check out my Hello YouTube, I'm Maximus Prime video. You know what I'm saying? Get a bit of backstory on me, just understand a little bit about myself, like why you should be listening to me, and like why you shouldn't click off this video. You know what I'm saying? Like on top of that, be sure to hit me up on Instagram, TikTok. I'm also on Rumble and BitChute. All of the videos on my YouTube are up on Rumble and BitChute as well. So obviously linktree.com/Maximus Prime 95. Links are in the description and are only a finger tap away. Do not delay. So, the topic of discussion, right? Escalation is key with women. Now, it's a delicate situation, yeah, because there's certain things that I'm going to say in this video that might come across as a bit, how can I put this? Weird. Like when you say it, like when you hear it, it's like, hold on a minute, that didn't sit right with me. But the reason for that is because obviously nowadays everyone's sensitive to shit. Now I know this is mostly men who are going to be listening to this, so maybe you might not get as triggered, but if a few women do happen to watch this video, just understand that what I'm trying to say is all in the hopes of helping guys. It's not like try and make guys worse, or my intentions are good, right? It's not like I'm gonna say something crazy like, yeah, slap that bitch up, she loves that shit. Like, I mean, some girls do like being slapped up, but I'm not, this isn't what it's for. It's more so about personal experiences that I've had, personal experiences that I know other men have had, and more so, it kind of actually also is relatable to a TikTok video that I just saw. So it's annoying, right? Because TikTok, they've recently, well, actually not recently, but in June 2022, they got rid of your watch history for some reason. I don't know why. If you go on like the settings in TikTok, you can't see your watch history anymore, and it's annoying because just before I started recording this video, I was just going through TikTok and just uploading a few things here and there. And I saw this video of this woman interviewing this guy, and she was basically saying to him, do you masturbate, right? And he was saying, no, I don't masturbate. And then obviously he asked her, do women masturbate? And she was like, yeah. And her thought process was like, yeah, but obviously, like, I don't just want to have sex, I want to have a connection. This is what the woman said. She doesn't want to just have sex with a guy, she wants to have a connection. But part of me was like, hold on a minute, but you're happy like dealing with dildos and stuff like that. But anyway, it was a stupid TikTok. If I like manage to find it before I finish editing this video, I'll put it in somehow, somewhere in this segment. I really want to find it, but the thing is, because they deleted my watch history, as you know, guys, when you're on TikTok, the minute you go off a video, that's it. Like, you ain't seen that video ever again. If you didn't like, I don't know, if someone doesn't reply to your comment on TikTok now, you don't see that video ever again, even if you liked it. Like, honestly, the history is gone. Anyway, escalation is key with women, right? Where I want to start is more so about when you're first meeting a girl. Obviously, there's that connection. You guys both like each other, or maybe there's potential to like each other. But we have to understand with girls is the whole journey of the build-up before sex is what is really what they want. That's why it's very difficult if you go up to a girl and propose sex to her straight away. Like, if you go up to a guy and say, do you want to have sex? As a girl, it's an easy yes, right? Because we're hard, we're ready to go straight away, right? But for women, it takes them a longer time, right? It's the same with like sex, we're within 10 seconds, we're hard, we're ready to go, right? But with them, it takes them a little while longer. The whole foreplay thing. Foreplay is really more for girls than it is guys. Like, let's be honest, like, we don't really need foreplay. Like, it's great getting a blowjob and that, but let's be honest, we don't really need the foreplay. Like, we're ready to, man can go, man can, like, a girl can strip down naked in front of you. You can be hard, you can fuck for like 5 minutes and you boss, right? Like, so we don't need the foreplay. The foreplay is more for the women because it takes them longer to get to that point, right? Again, nothing wrong with that, that's fine. I actually like it that way, to be honest, because it means you can, like, cater to her a bit more, which I think in the bed you should, like, I know some red pill content creators think like the woman should do everything you do. I mean, women should do everything you do. I mean, the woman should do all the work and you should do fuck all, but I don't think that's true. I think, I personally feel like if you don't, not necessarily you have to make a comment, but I feel like if you don't make a comment, it's almost like a bit of a bit of an L for you. Like, you still won because you got the cheats, right? But it's still a bit of an L in it. Like, she's gonna talk about you like, yo, my man was shit, you know. He didn't even make me come, you know. Like, yo, my man can't even my man couldn't even make me wet, you know. But anyway, getting into the escalation thing, right? It's important that we understand that girls move slower than we do. Obviously, a girl might see you and instantly want to have sex with you, but she's not going to, right? The same way we can see a girl and instantly want to have sex with her, and we will have sex with her. Obviously, one night stands and stuff. I know what you're thinking, like, one night stands, what about one night stands? But even one night stands, bro, even one night stands, to a degree, there is an escalation stage. You know what I mean? You don't just end up having a one night stand like within 5 minutes of meeting somebody. You know what I mean? Usually, whenever I've had one night stands in the past, it's usually like 2 to 3 hours before we actually do it. So there's still that 2 to 3 hours we have to escalate. You have to do certain things, say certain things, like act a certain way, do certain body movements that are gonna make her feel comfortable around you. And speaking of comfortability, that's where the first step really is. Like, the escalation stage kind of starts with comfortability. She has to be comfortable in your presence. She has to be comfortable knowing that she can trust you, not just as a man. Like, even if she gives you the puss, right? Even if she gives it to you, like, she wants to know that you're not the type of person who's gonna blabber mouth about it. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on in the girl's mind when they're thinking about these things. It's not just like, oh, okay, let me just fuck this guy and whatever. She's thinking, what's he gonna say to his friends after? Like, who's he gonna talk to after? And like, who does he know that I might know? You know what I mean? Like, these are the sorts of things that go through their head. On top of that, even though a lot of girls claim they don't really care, I think a lot of girls still care about their body count. So that's another thing. Like, you know, some girls, they might be on like 9 and they don't want it to hit double digits. You know what I mean? Like, there are some girls still out there like that. I mean, I'm not saying all of them, but there are some who do care about their body count. You know what I mean? So it's important to understand that these things come into play when you're trying to get with a girl you just met, right? So comfortability, obviously making sure she's comfortable with the fact that you're not going to go blabbermouth and talk about your business. On top of that, she wants to be comfortable in the fact that you're not a creep or a weirdo, right? And obviously, as guys, we can come across as like nervous and like a bit shy. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when we see a really pretty girl, we're like, oh, like, how do I approach her? Like, and you might come off as nervous or like weird or, you know, pedo-ish, right? Because it's weird, right? Because girls use all different types of terms for it. Like, you can be a creepy nerd, you can be like a nerdy guy and go talk to a girl and she'll call you a creep, right? But if you're like a guy with like a banging jawline and like six pack, and you say the exact same thing the nerd said, you're not a creep. You know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of say. Like, even when I just said that pedo thing a minute ago, it doesn't really feel right, because I know men in it. Like, I know not all men are smooth. Not all men. A lot of men are rough around the edges. A lot of men don't really know what they're doing. Like, they're just winging it and hoping that the girl likes them, right? Because ultimately, it doesn't really matter what you say. Like, it does, but it doesn't. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter what you say. It's more about how you say it and the context you say it in. But I see a lot of guys failing because what it is, they're and I've failed in the past too. But what it is, one thing that happened to me was that I would get into a situation with a girl where I knew the girl was not easy, but an easier sort of option, if that makes sense. Like, there'd be a girl who I don't know, then there'd be a girl who I know, and like, let's say she might have her OnlyFans, or she might do like some sort, she might like take like promiscuous photos on her Instagram or something like that, and I would go for that thinking that was the easier option, right? Like, she'll be DTF straight away, right? And sometimes they are, but a big thing that I had issues with was realizing that they might have liked me, or they might have had interest in me or found me attractive, but then because I pushed it too quickly, I mean, because the escalation wasn't slow enough, it ended up becoming one of those things like, okay, I'm just going to allow it. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important to establish that comfortability first. She needs to be comfortable in your presence. She needs to be comfortable knowing that even if you two are alone in the room in the dark, ain't nothing mad going to happen. Obviously, you want something to happen, but I mean, just like in a sense where you just met. You know what I mean? Like, if she wants to know if we get left alone for whatever reason, you're not going to do anything mad. That's more so what the comfortability side comes into it, right? Once you get past that comfortability stage in the escalation, it's then about, for me, I'd say physical touch. I think physical touch is the next step from comfortability, right? Once she's comfortable with you, speaking to you, like you've held good eye contact, you've shown her that you're not a creep, you've shown her that you know how to keep your mouth shut and you're not like a bragger, you know, you haven't been talking about how many girls you've fucked and blah blah blah, you're just being a calm guy. Once she's comfortable with that, the next step, of course, is physical touch. And now this is with the bit I was speaking about earlier about how it might sound weird if certain things I'm going to say in this section, because the physical touch thing, you have to understand that girls, they like being touched, right? It's not a problem to touch them, but you have to do it in a way that doesn't feel like you're doing it deliberately. Now, I know that sounds weird because I'm telling you to do it, but you need to do it in a way that's not deliberate, right? And I know this is such a mind fuck, guys. Trust me, I understand it's such a mind fuck, and I'm really trying my hardest to help you guys. I really fucking am. But like, women are just so backwards, man. I can't lie. Like you can touch them, but you can't touch them. But you can't. Like, it's so difficult, right? It's like you're playing chess, right? But I'm here to help you guys. Let's not argue about it. Let's not get upset about it. It is what it is. Let's just work through it, right? The reason why the escalation is important, sorry, not the escalation. The reason why the physical touch is important is because you need to get her accustomed to the idea of her feeling her skin against your skin, right? So if you're wearing gloves, if you're one of those weirdos that wears leather gloves all the time, like some sort of serial killer, bro, you might want to take them off. I mean, take off your serial killer leather gloves. But anyway, continuing on. Physical touch is one of those things that you can just do subtly. So little things that I do when now that I do when I'm dealing with girls, I'll do little things like, let's say we're walking through a door, I'll like put my hand on her lower back as we go through, like just like very lightly though, not like pushing her through the door, like there you go. I mean, not like pushing her through the door, like just, you know, lightly, just just know I'm there. Like even though she knows I'm there, just know that I'm here. Like just feel me, you get me? Like you feel me, right? Another little thing could be like when you're sitting down, it's like a little like a what's it called, leg brush, or like a knee brush. Just brush her knee with your hand. Like again, these are little subtle things you just do, like nothing weird, nothing creepy. Even like the back of the arm, you know, maybe she's like carrying some drinks, or I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, maybe she's giving you her bag to hold for a hot second, and then you put it back on her, and then while you're putting it back on her, you just like, you know, like I don't know, touch her shoulder or touch the back of her arm, or just something. I mean, just some form of physical contact, right? Nothing on the face, right? I wouldn't say touch the face. Don't touch her face. This is just about the body. Don't touch her face. This isn't about her face right now. Okay, again, we're still going through the escalation stage. So we've got through the comfortability bit. Now we're going through the physical touch bit, right? You got her comfortable. You don't want to now make her uncomfortable by just go randomly touching her face. Like, do you know what I mean? You don't want to be doing that yet. That will come later, right? But it's part of the escalation stage, right? So you go from the comfortability and then move on to physical touch. Again, and physical touch, it can vary in terms of like, it doesn't have to necessarily be you giving her a tap on the back or like a brush on the knee. It can be little things like even just like high fives, like, you know, not high fives, but like, for example, for me, yeah, one way I always get physical touch of women is like, because I'm 6'5", right? I got really big hands, right? And obviously a lot of girls don't. So I'll go up to girls, not go up to them, but like when I'm speaking to a girl, I'll be like, oh, let's see how big your hands are compared to mine. And that's physical touch, because obviously they put their hand up against mine and like, oh my god, look how big your hands compared to mine. And I mean, like little things like that, that's a physical touch, you know what I mean? And again, she feels comfortable doing that, and then you just kind of escalate it there. I mean, oh, okay, so you let me touch your knee, cool. I can touch your leg, cool. I can touch your arm, cool. Oh, we did the hand thing, cool. We brushed shoulders briefly, like I don't know, we were in the queue together and we were standing next to each other, and like your shoulder touched mine. Little things like that. And I want to just put it out there, guys, really quickly. If a girl ever brushes past you, guys, this is a quick mental note, you guys need to understand, yeah? Because I've been getting this a lot recently, right? If a girl ever, like, if you're in like a public setting, even if it's like a bar or a nightclub, doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter how busy it is as well. I mean, unless it's like a proper busy, if it's like packed out, like, yeah, it's hard to move, it's different. But like, something that I've been noticing a lot recently is that girls don't touch you, or they don't brush past you unless they want you to touch them. Does that make sense? In the sense where, like, there's been times where like I've been standing like in the room, like in a club where like there's enough vicinity around me that you can walk around me, and I've had girls like somehow manage to bump into me on their way out, or like on their way in, like they'll somehow find a way to like brush past me or like touch me just a little bit. That's like their indication of saying, hey, like I kind of like you. But I've even had girls like, there's been times like, again, like I said, I'm really tall, so I can see everyone's heads most of the time. So like, there's been times like I've been walking through like a crowd of people, and I've seen a girl like instinctively step out. Like I saw her right leg moved, and she stepped out a bit so that my body like grazed hers as I walked past. She did that deliberately, you know what I mean? Like, so some girls, sometimes even the girls, they use physical contact as a sign for, hey, I'm interested in you, come and talk to me, you know what I mean? So the physical touch is a very, very important step in the escalation process, bro. You can't just go from meeting a girl, like Imagine you got your hands behind your back, like, oh, hello, my name's Jacob. What's your name? Oh, Rachel. Oh, Rachel, that's a nice name. Kiss. Like, it doesn't work. Like, if you're like a very bold guy and like you're probably well known, don't get me wrong, if you're a celebrity or you're TikTok famous or one of those influencers, then you might be able to get away with it if she knows who you are. But even then, she's gonna low key feel weird about it because she's gonna feel like, oh, I only did that because he was a well-known person. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she's gonna kind of low-key feel shit about that. And the idea is not to make girls feel shit, right? You don't want to make them feel shit. That's what this whole escalation stage is about. Even if she is a slag, even if she does have OnlyFans, even if you know 20 guys she slept with, you can't then move in a way as like, oh, you're a slag, let me treat you like a slag. I mean, how can I put it? You can treat them how they want to be treated, right? If she portrays herself as a slag, then you treat her that way. But I'm saying, in the beginning process, when you're actually trying to get with her, you can't make her feel that way. Even though she might be, but she might have been busting it down on OnlyFans before OnlyFans was even a thing. She might have been busting it down on MySpace, bro. She might have been busting it down on fucking Bieber. She might have been busting it down on Pixo, fam. You remember Pixo? You don't know about Pixo, innit? So you lot are young kids out here, man. I'm 28, but she might have been busting it down on She might have been busting it down on MSN Messenger, bro. She might have been busting it down on BB. Actually, no, BBM's a bit later than that. She might have been busting it down on AOL.com. Nah, AOL is a bit mad still. She might have been busting it down on MSN Messenger. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that even if she's been busting it down for a long period of time, it doesn't necessarily mean she wants to be a slag. And the girls that are okay with being objectified like that to that degree, like any girl that you've met that you could just like instantly, quickly, easily have sex with, let's be honest, how much value did that woman really provide to your life? Do you know what I mean? Not much. Oh, it was a great fuck, yeah, brilliant. But then afterwards, what substance was there from that woman, really? You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying that the other girls you take time with are gonna have substance, but I'm just saying there's no real rush to get into these things. Even as a guy, man, like there might be things that you might notice during the escalation process that might deter you from wanting to have sex with this girl, because a lot of you lot, you get horny and you think, oh yeah, I want to fuck, but you might not even want to fuck her. You just want to fuck something. Do you know what I mean? Like if you went home and had a wank, you'd be fine. Do you know what I mean? So it's not even necessary that you want that girl. You're horny, right? Which is fine. It's fine. But just understand that this escalation stage is not just for her. It's also for you, because there might be something that you find out that you don't like. You know what I mean? Or there might be a way she might act, because you can tell a lot. You know what I mean? She might act in a certain way that like maybe when you touch her, maybe she flinches a bit, or maybe she it makes her feel a bit uncomfortable, or maybe you can feel goosebumps on her skin when you touch her. So maybe she's nervous, or maybe she's had like some sort of past trauma that's made her, you know what I mean, feel that way. Like it's sort of like her defense mechanism. You know what I mean? But I suppose once you got through the comfortability stage, you made her comfortable, and once you got through the physical touch stage, I would say the third and final stage would have to be. This is a weird one. So, okay, so when I say, I want to say trust, but when I say trust, I think I mean consent. But consent and trust are kind of like, they go hand in hand, right? Like I said before, with the comfortability thing, she needs to trust you so that she can be comfortable with you, right? She needs to trust you so that you can do the physical touch, right? Which also falls into the consent folder, right? But the third and final, obviously, with the trust and the consent, it's more so about if she's now gonna give herself to you, right? She's gonna give her body to you now. She doesn't want to feel like you're gonna take advantage of that fact, in a sense where, one thing that I personally never do, like I never talk about my business, in it. Like there are people come up to me and be like, yo, RP, well, they don't call me RP in real life, right? I got a bit of a different name in real life, but they'll be like, yo, for the sake of this video, they'll be like, yo, RP, like I seen you leaving the club with that girl, yeah, what happened? I'm just there like, not much. I mean, just went back to hers, had a few drinks, yeah, went to bed. Even though that really did happen, right? We had a few drinks, we went to bed. I don't need to talk about what they're in between, right? And it's little things like that will make girls more attracted to you, because if they know you can keep your mouth shut, they'll fuck with you all day, bro. You know what I mean? Like honestly, if any of you are in uni or you're in college, you know this. Like if you are the type of guy who gets a lot of girls in the college or in the university, it's because a lot of girls have spoken about you, but you've not spoken your business. You've noticed that guys who speak their business, they always strike out with girls, like, because girls just see them as like, oh, I heard you got with blah blah blah, or I heard that you got with blah blah blah. But bro, I never hear anybody say that to me in real life. They never say I heard this about, no, because no one knows about it. The only person who knows is me and the girl. And more time, I know the girl's not going to say anything because, you know, like I say, girls are trying to keep their body count down, right? And again, it's that court of public opinion. They don't want to be seen as slugs, right? So they're not going to talk about it, which means the only person who's going to talk about it is who? The guy, right? Who's obviously, as you know, guys, it's much harder for us to land sex than it is for women. So it makes sense that we're more excited when we get it, but at the same time, you can't be like that, because what it also shows is that you don't get a lot of girls. You know what I mean? And this is where the whole trust thing is very important. Yeah, even though she might chat, it doesn't matter. You be a man, you stand on your morals, yeah. I ain't chatting my business to nobody. I don't. Like me personally, in my actual life, I don't chat my business to no one. Like, even if, bro, you could see me literally you could see me dry humping a girl in a club while giving her a kiss. Like, I probably wouldn't do that. But you could see me doing that, and you could ask me next, what happened? I'll be like, nothing. I still tell you nothing happened, because it's my thing, innit? Like, it's my business. Like, it's none of your business. It was my experience. What did you not, or did I not? Did you not, or did I not? Like, you know what I mean? Like why you wanna, you know what I mean? Like, I understand telling the man them, like, I'll tell my close peoples, like, if they ask me, but like, I'm not just gonna openly be like, yeah, last night this happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, for me, it just doesn't, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, it happened, it's not, and I kind of like that idea of having that little secret, like, to myself, like, I know, you know, no one else really knows. You know, it's kind of nice. But I guess to wrap this video up, like, what I'm trying to say the most is, like, obviously escalation is extremely important with women, right? You escalate to the point where she feels comfortable with you touching her. So we'll go through the steps, one, two, three. Yeah. So the first step, comfortability. Yeah. Make her comfortable with you. Make her trust you. Eye contact's very important. Not talking about sex is very important. That's another thing I didn't put up there, but in the comfortability thing, do not discuss sex at all unless she brings it up first. Then you can talk about it, but move on very quickly if you can. If you can move on the conversation, if she brings sex up and you can move the conversation on moderately quickly, then that's a good thing. I'm not saying switch it straight away, because then she'll think you're trying to avoid the sex thing, right? Because and then she'll start thinking things about. It's so exhausting, man. All these hoops we gotta jump through just to hopefully get some sex, right? And then even then, it might not even be that great, right? But it is what it is. But anyway, like, obviously, don't talk about certain topics. You know, stay away from politics, stay away from religion, stay away from any of this red pill stuff. Don't talk about Andrew Tate, fam. I got a funny story about that, actually. I had a quick story. I'll tell you a story about Andrew Tate in a second. But anyway, don't talk about any of these sorts of politics, anything like that, religion, anything strong like feminism. Don't talk about none of that stuff. Like, or if you're like African, if you're like black like me, don't talk about like slavery and that. Like, none of those topics. Don't talk about the genocide of the Irish people. Like, just don't. There's certain things, fam. You're trying to get this woman to become sexually interested in you, yeah. Like, it's all and good having those conversations after the fact, but not before, bro. Before the fact, she just wants to have fun. She wants to know that you're a cool guy. She's obviously attracted to you, otherwise she wouldn't be speaking to you. So just don't fuck it up. Literally, guys, just don't fuck it up. That's the comfortability side. Just don't fuck it up, yeah. Alright, so moving on to this Andrew Tate story I got. So basically, I was with like a girl maybe about a couple of weeks back, and we were chilling in bed after the fact, and then she goes to me, oh, what's a red flag that you think that you have? And I said to her, I don't really have many red flags. And she's like, nah, that's not true. I was like, okay, check it. You met me. I was like, you met me today. You met me tonight, right? What was the red flag? And she was like, that you had a condom, right? Because basically I keep condoms in my wallet because obviously safe sex, right? And she was like, oh, a red flag is that you had a condom. I was like, why is that a red flag? She's like, oh, because obviously that means you expected to have sex. I'm like, but do you not want safe sex? Like, I'm confused, right? But obviously the next red flag was saying, she said to me, no, I'll tell you the biggest red flag. And she was like, what? I was like, do you know who Andrew Tate is? And I said to her, who's Andrew Tate? And she was like, no, never mind, don't worry about it, no worries. I was like, all good, no worries. Of course I fucking know who Andrew Tate is, bro. But that wasn't the question she asked me, and the question I asked her, this is how I caught her out, because she said, do you know who Andrew Tate is? And then I said to her, who is that? I never said I didn't know who he was. I just said, who is that? Because I wanted to know what she was gonna say. Like, who is that? Like, I was hoping she's gonna give me like a little Wikipedia bio of my man, but she didn't. But long story short, I just thought I'd put that little clip, that little story in there for you lot, because, you know, it's quite pretty funny story. Like, I mean, and then the following night, it's funny because like that girl in particular, the following night I saw her out again, like that same night, and I know the next night, and I know for a fact if I had said to her that I knew who Andrew Tate was, I bet you the following night I would have never linked up with her again. I bet you, because girls are like that, bro. Like, the minute you show support, or you show some sort of like you agree with someone like an Andrew Tate or like a Fresh and Fit or like a Kevin Samuels, instantly women just disqualify you. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta sometimes hide these things. But anyway, going back to the video, we were talking about with escalation. The second point, like we said, the first point was comfortability, making sure that she's comfortable in your presence. You're not talking about anything weird, no stupid topics. You're not talking about anything bad about your family or your friends. You know, you're not talking about money issues, even if you are having them. You're not talking about that shit. Just positive stuff, good stuff, things that will make her smile, not laugh. Right? I mean, it's okay if she laughs, but don't try to be a joker. Yeah, 'cause that's another thing that doesn't work. You know, a lot of guys think if I'm a prankster, if I'm a joker, I can get into her pants. It can work, but it's a long thing. Trust me, I know. I'm a funny person, so I fucking know what I'm talking about, right? And then obviously, thirdly, just make sure that you keep yourself in a state of calmness. Just try not to be too excited, yeah, because when you're excited, it makes girls a bit uncomfortable. She should be more excited than you are. You know what I mean? I know it's hard to do that when you're a guy and you're horny and like you're talking to a very pretty girl and like you got a semi hard on, and it's just like shit. Like I can't keep my excitement. You have to hold that down, bruv. Hold that shit down. Be a man, yeah, and hold that shit down. But I don't care if you're 14 or 40, bruv. You better hold that shit down. Otherwise, you're gonna be charging it to the game when she leaves you on red and goes and talks to one of your Snapchat buddies. Anyway, obviously moving on to physical touch, the next step in the escalation, right? You want to be touching her lightly on the back, leg, knee, you know, back of the arm. Like, again, very subtle, guys. Like, you need to do these things in a way where, like, she's going to know that you're touching her, but she doesn't mind, right? This is the whole point. It's not, the thing you don't want to get is the, don't touch me. You don't want that reaction, okay? That's the reaction you don't want, right? So as long as she's not saying that, you're good to go. Do you get me? Like, you're good to go within certain boundaries. Don't take the fucking piss. If she doesn't say anything, doesn't mean now go grab her neck, right? Don't do that. Like, within reason, guys. Just be fucking smart, guys. Come on, we're meant to be the more logical of species. Just be logical. Just be smart, right? Don't be stupid. You know what I mean? Like, just think about it logically. Okay, no. You know what? No, this is gonna sound weird, but this is the best way I can think of it, guys. If you're confused about how to escalate with girls, yeah, and you're stuck on this physical touch thing, I know this is gonna sound weird, but just rock with me. Imagine a guy is moving to your sister. How would you want him to touch her? Does that make sense? I know that sounds a bit weird because it's like your sister, but or just think of a girl that you know who's like a family friend or like a cousin or someone who's female. But just think in that mindset. Think, how would you want a guy to treat, or how would you want him to touch your sister or cousin, like if they were like physically touched, you know what I mean? Like, not in a weird way. I know that sounds a bit weird. I know it's annoying, you know, because I'm gonna clip this part because this part is very important. I'm gonna clip this part. I'm gonna put it on TikTok. I know someone's gonna misunderstand it. Like, oh, he's saying touch him. Nah, literally, I'm not. Look, all I'm trying to say is, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm just trying to help guys. Yeah. If you're unsure about how to physically escalate with girls by using physical touch, just think in your head, if there was a guy that you didn't know and he was moving to your sister, or like he was moving to your cousin who's a girl, how would you want him, the same way you'd want him to touch her, that's how you should touch girls, right? And what I mean by that is the same restraint you want to see him. If it was your sister, right? The same restraint you see him. Some of you might want your sister being moved to, but you know, if your sister is your sister, right? But the same restraint that you want to see him emulate. Sorry, the same restrictions that you want, that he would obviously do, the same restrictions that he would make within himself. That's how you need to be. You need to like be reserved like that. Like, obviously, if a guy's with your sister, you don't want him touching her in a weird, creepy way. You get me? So move like that if that helps you guys, right? And that was gonna sound mad weird, and because I said the word touch a lot, and touch is like a fucking taboo word on YouTube. But anyway, moving on to the third and final point, or sorry, the recap of the third and final point, the trust and consent, which again, the trust and consent obviously ties back into like the comfortability and the physical touch, in a sense where, like I said earlier, she knows that you're not gonna say shit. She knows you're not the type of guy to brag about stuff, even if it goes badly. Like, let's say something mad happens, like during the sex she starts her period, or little things like pussy, like vaginal farts, right? Vaginal farts, very embarrassing thing for girls. It happens, but she wants to know that if that happens, she don't want to be like, you know what I mean? Like, oh no, that's the girl who does vaginal farts. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm not obviously, I know you guys aren't like that, but let's be honest, a lot of dudes, they're very immature. You know, they get their dick wet one time, and then they start acting like Krusty the fucking Clown. You know what I mean? So I need to put these things out there so you guys understand and know. More so importantly is that this video, well, clips of this video will be going on TikTok. So I know TikTok has a very young audience as well. So I'm trying to obviously make it friendly to them too. But yeah, that's the main things I can think of in terms of like escalation with women. Let me see it one sec. Okay, we're coming up on about the 30-minute mark, and I didn't want to make this video too long, but I kind of want to tell you a story about something that happened with me so that you guys can understand the escalation process, right? So I had an issue a couple years back, like 3 or 4 years back, with a girl who basically tried to say that she basically tried to make certain accusations, right? She tried to make certain accusations against me, right? And the reason why this is happening is because I didn't do my role properly. I didn't do my job properly. I was trying to escalate things quicker than they were meant to be escalated. Now, the reason why I did this is, like I said earlier, this girl who I was interested in, she was like an OnlyFans girl. So instantly in my mind, I thought, oh, OnlyFans girl, easy, right? It's going to be simple. I ain't got to put much work in. I probably don't even have to take her out on a date, right? This is what I thought a few years back. And the reason why I ended up being in a situation where she felt like I'd done that to her when I didn't, right? Because I'm not like that kind of person. I'm not a rapist, but right? But because I'm not that guy, yeah, I said, obviously, when she tried to accuse me of it, there was a lot of people in my city who know me who were like, nah, not him, no way, because they know who I am, right? And like I said, obviously there's other aesthetics about myself that are physically pleasing to women. I'm not going to go into them today, but the point is, people obviously see me as a kind of guy who wouldn't really need to do it, right? And I don't, right? So when I got hit with it, I was confused, like, really? But then, when what it is, I realized that sexual assault can be classed as anything. Did you guys know? I think it's on the Center for Disease Control website, so the CDC website. Did you guys know that rape and sexual assault technically can be classed as this? Let's say you've got a girlfriend for 5 years, and during that 5 years you guys have sex repeatedly, and you go on travel, you go on like holidays, and you have fun, and you have loads of experiences in those 5 years. Let's say you catch her cheating, like in the 6th year of you two being together, and you leave her. She can turn around and say, for those 5 years we were together, he emotionally blackmailed me into having sex with him, and that would be classed as rape. Can you believe it? Guys, that's what they're classing as rape now. That's what they're classing as rape now. So so we had consensual sex for 5 years. You cheated on me. I broke up with you. You now tell me that, you now go tell everyone that I emotionally blackmailed you into having sex with me, and how that's rape. That's honestly, that's literally that's how they've classed. That's how they've defined rape. I had to calm down, 'cause I'm getting too hype. But that's how they've defined it now. That's what it is. So if she feels like, again, the feelings, right? Feels versus reals, right? If she feels like something happened, then it happened, right? And this is the situation with me. She felt like something happened, even though I didn't do anything. Didn't penetrate. Didn't do any of that. Didn't do none of that, right? She felt like that, or maybe she spoke to her friends after, because the time between when it happened and the time between when I actually heard from something back from someone was about 5 hours, which was enough time for her to obviously make up a story, talk to her friends. Obviously her friends would have got in her head and said, nah babe, you should tell everyone that he's this, right? Because that's how girls get. But obviously, long story short, that would have never happened if I had escalated properly. I think I did the comfortable stage first, because we used to hug and everything. Like, she used to come up to me and hug me, give me like a big hug, like, and she used to just like shout my name. So I knew the comfortability stage was there. She was calm. She was comfortable with me, right? I think what was the problem was the escalation stage. The problem was the second part in the escalation stage with the physical touch and that. I didn't escalate it properly. That's what I didn't do. That's one thing I didn't do. I just tried to go straight in there. And then obviously she's misinterpreted it as that, right? Sexual assault, right? And it wasn't that. But obviously this is why it's important, because I know there's going to be a lot of guys out there who are going to go through this. I know my boys, I know, like, not my boy, I'm not trying to say like, it sounds weird when I say my boys, right? Because it makes it sound like my boys are all like sexual predators. Like, I mean like boys that I know, like guys, dudes that I've dealt with in the past, or guys, friends, or guys at football, or guys at school. They've all had these situations happen to them where girls lied on them for certain things. And I feel like if you're never going to be able to like completely stop it, right? But if you're able to basically make this part of your game, the escalation, you have to make it part of your game. Yeah, if you can make it part of your game, you're gonna have better success with women. And on top of that, there's no way that a girl can, well, there is a way, but there's less chance of her doing that. You know, there's less chance for her making accusations like that. On top of that, what's important as well with the escalation stage, depending on what setting you're in, like let's say you're at a club or a bar, or you're in like a social setting, the escalation stage is important, because you have to understand, if you're escalating with the girl, right, other people are seeing this. You know what I mean? Especially if the girl's hot, right? Like, you guys know, like, the hot girl in the room, everyone's always watching to see who's chatting to her. Oh, he's gone and chatted to her. He's went and chatted to her. He's went and... So people are, even if the girl's not hot, people are going to see you and her talking, vibing, having a good laugh, you know, eye contact, physical touch, escalation. They're going to see all that. So if they see all of that, and then she tries to turn around and say, oh, he did this to me, then it looks a bit suspicious, because it's like, hold on a minute, you look like you was having a lot of fun together when we seen you, blah blah blah, right? And that's what didn't happen for me. For me, the situation was peak. I'm not gonna lie, I had a home court disadvantage. I was at her house. It was just me and her in the crib. Like, it was very much my word against hers. And you know, and like I say, I'm a black guy. She happened to be a white girl, so you know how that goes, right? So I was just like, you know what, it's fair. I'll eat that. I'll take it on the chin. Luckily, nothing really bad came from it, but it did put me in a bit of a weird state for a few weeks. You know, I had to look in the mirror for a bit and wonder if, like, do you know what I mean? Like, because it started becoming a bit of a rumor, innit? And obviously it bothered me because I have a bit of a reputation where I live. So it's like, I was hearing these things like, hold on a minute, like, that's not me. And then I started to think, maybe it is me. Do you know what I mean? Like, little shit, like, boy, it'll fuck with your mind, man. And it took one of my closest guys to be like, listen, RP, you ain't that guy, fam. You ain't that guy. You ain't that guy. You know what I mean? You ain't that guy, fam. You got more value. My boy really backed me, man. That's why it's really important to have good friends around you. He really backed me. And after he told me what I needed to hear, I was like, yeah, fuck that bitch, man. Well, not like fuck that bitch, but like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, fuck her, man, for like, you know, like making my life, ruining my life sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, not ruining my life, but you get me in it. Like, fuck you, man. Like, making me feel bad about myself. I know who I am, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? But it's funny, yeah, because it's funny, right? Because that girl in particular, who that story was about, I see her about now all the time whenever I go out in town. Like, especially like on a weekend, or more so during the week, right? Because she's like, I think now she must be about 22, maybe 21, I don't know what. But basically, she's like student age, yeah. So anytime I see her out, yeah, she does this weird thing where like she pretends she doesn't see me, and then like she kind of like moves out of the vicinity, like I'm gonna go up to her and like gang rape her right there in the street. It's like, bitch, like everyone already knows you lied. Like, and it's the maddest thing. Even she came out and said, you know what? Actually, it wasn't exactly like that. So it's weird, man. I think maybe she wants my attention again, but I've been burned one time. Well, I've been burned twice by her, really. Like, the first time I got burned, it wasn't as serious. Like, all it was is she just parred me. Like, she didn't. I asked her if she wanted to come out somewhere, and she basically made up some lie. She was tired. So I got burned twice by that girl. So I'm not really trying to go back there, but just interesting now. Like, now she'll always try to like grab my eye contact or like look at me. Like, I'll notice, like, again, I'll notice she'll be looking at me, like, to see if I'm looking at her. And the thing is, I'm one of those guys where I can see everything before I see it. Like, I can look at you and know you're there before even looking at you. So I've already known she's there. I've already clocked that she's there, but I just don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care to look at her, because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna look at her. She's gonna look at me. We're gonna have that 2-second eye contact. She's gonna feel weird, and then she's gonna look away, and then I'm gonna look like a weirdo. Like, oh look, he's looking at me. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to give her that satisfaction. Oh look, he's looking at me again. He's looking at me. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to give her that. And she seems like the type of girl that would do that. I mean, she is, obviously, right? As we already know. But anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. Obviously, I hope you guys enjoyed that little story time at the end. But yeah, man, literally, escalation is key with women, and you know that's why. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, you know, I know this is why I say video a lot. It pisses me off. I've been working on that. I've been trying to say video. If you enjoyed this video, not video. What's a video? If you enjoyed this video, obviously hit me up on my other platforms. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on BitChute, Rumble. All of the videos that I place on YouTube all go on Rumble and BitChute. So go check them out. Linktree.com/RaximusPrime95. Links in the description, and I'm only a finger tap away. Do not delay, and I'm out.